This is IBM Museum. On this video, I'm going to go through the process of creating a reference USB drive, not a reference diskette, for one of my NCR 3433 systems. It just didn't want to work with the diskette drive it has, so I've substituted a Gotek replacement diskette drive, and we're going to go through the process of getting the right files on that thumb drive to run on the NCR 3433 system. So let me see where I've got my tweener system behind me. This is with the Windows XP 32-bit, plus it's a dual boot DOS machine. And so we're going to have a menu come up, and I'm going to select the MS-DOS as the operating system to boot from. Let's go through and insert that diskette into the drive. And I'm going to do a format A/S, and that makes a bootable diskette with the system files. Okay, we've got a new diskette in the drive, and I'll go through and pause the video. When it's close to being complete, I'll unpause. Okay, the process is completing. It's transferring the system files. Okay, and I'm just going to call it 3433 ref. Okay, I do not want to format another. So I'm going to reboot the system. And I'll pause until we're back at the menu. Okay. And this time, and it auto-selects Windows XP if I don't press a key, but I'm just pressing enter to start that process early. And I'm going to turn and face the display that I have. It's just easier. There's not any delay with that screen. So, and I'll link to this page in the video description. I went on to the Ardent Tool site. Okay, to the non-IBM systems, and selected the NCR/AT&T systems. The 3433 is among listed at the very bottom of the different models there. And this is the reference diskette image that I downloaded to the system, and I put that over in my I took that from this directory and put it over to the C ref disk fact, let me pull up a separate file window for that into my ref disk. So I have that file expanded out, and it creates a document about how to run the program, and it tells you the command line. Since we don't have that make disk program, is 3350 space slash or dash D space A colon backslash from the DOS prompt. Okay, and this document includes what files will be in there. I don't have the ADF for the Ethernet adapter that I want to put in there, and so I've already gone through and have that in my downloads directory here, and I can put that over to the diskette once I have it created. So let's put the diskette in the drive. We're going to run the command prompt. I'm going to the C drive and then changing to the ref disk directory. Okay. And it's that last file that we have there, that 3350. So the command line that we want is that. Okay, once we press enter, it goes immediately to transferring the files over to the diskette. And different language files, pretty elaborate list of files that it has that it puts on that diskette. Hopefully this should be coming to the end. Copies them in alphabetical order. Okay. And leaving the diskette in the drive. Close that window. This is the ADF for the SMC Ethernet adapter. So I'm going to just switch that over, or send that to the A drive. Okay. Then we're going to start up the WinImage program. And I'm going to read the disk. back for a view of the front of the system. And I'm going to go through and put the USB drive in. Okay, so that's complete. We're going to go over to the file menu, down to save. Okay. And let's go through and I'll do a IMA. So and I'm going to put a B at the end of this. I did this earlier and figured out that I didn't have the boot files on that image, so it didn't work for me. And this with the B at the end of it, we've gone through and written that to an image file. And the next available section of my USB drive is this 004. Now this is not in a flash floppy format. This Gotek drive is just as I received it. I've gone through and I've applied the flash floppy update to most of my Goteks, but this one I have not. So on here, we're going to go with a single. Let's go ahead and select that number 4, single. And we're going to write an image file. And we're going to have to select all files since it doesn't have, this is, I think it's saved in like an I'm trying to remember how it's, the file extension was different. So that's all it took to expand to that number 4 area of the USB drive. So we should have something ready here that we can go through. We'll close out of this system and get the NCR system connected and see if we can run this from the USB drive. I'm going to go through and pause the video as I reconnect everything. Okay, and we've moved over to the NCR 3433. I do have it uncovered because I do have the Gotek drive seen out here on top. Later on, I'll put the cover on when I have the Gotek unit in place there. But for this temporary process, and the Gotek just connected right up to what I had for the cables and the power. It only supplies apparently the 5-volt side of the power, and that's all that the Gotek needs. And so let's go through and power this on. And I'm going to get over to 004 for the image that we want to boot from. And this system, it flashes that initialization in progress for quite a long period of time. But I do have the, as we can see there from the ROM BIOS of I guess it's 8 Is that a, that's a 0, isn't it? Looks like almost like an 8 to me. Oh, it says 83. 83.01. And that might just even be a typo. And of course we get the 165 error. That's carried over from the IBM PS2s about the configuration error. And it's initializing all the hard drive. I hear that drive spinning up behind me. Let me get the keyboard in position here. Okay, so CMOS indicates you should run the reference disk. Do you wish to run the reference diskette? Yes or no. So I'm going to do a Y, enter, insert the reference diskette in drive A. Okay. Okay, and we have the starting MS-DOS. All the different languages here. German, French, maybe? Okay. So system configuration utility, setup.exe, even has the BIOS update utility, and I think I have the latest BIOS on there. So we're going to do 1 for that. And you have the language selections down at the bottom. English, German, French, Spanish, and Italian. Okay. Press F1 for help or any other key to continue. This is quite neat little utility. And it's all from that Gotek. Thumb drive. Okay. Okay. Configuration information for a slot has been changed by the physical insertion or deletion of adapters. Run automatic configuration for this window to configure the new adapter in the system, or choose automatic from the menu to reconfigure the whole system, or change to manually configure the adapter. Okay, press any key to continue. And just think, this is able to run in all those different languages. So press enter to run automatic configuration or escape for the main menu. I'm going to run the automatic configuration. I think in this, we'll see how the system does all automatic wise. Okay, press any key to continue. Configuration complete. So let's take a look at some of these. You have file copy, automatic, which we just did. View the system memory settings, change, backup, or restore. So you can even back up a choice, a configuration to the diskette. Let's go through and let's look at the view, the system configuration. Okay, so it's showing there for the internal options of what slots are filled with what. I don't know why it identified slot 3 as that AT&T NCR Starland. That's where I have that Ethernet adapter, but I went through and did and these are all the the planar functions. Okay, so it returns us to the top. I want to look at and see if it provides any more details on this slot 3. Because that's a wrong identifier. It looks like it's read the ADF correctly, because that's, and this Ethernet adapter doesn't have the BIOS ROM, that boot ROM in there. So all the settings are correct, and I wonder if I should go through and toggle that, or if it has a choice. Because I'm using the modern day connection of the RJ45, or that 10 base T connection. And this is identifying, I guess, if you have either one connected. And so let's view memory usage information. Okay. And 128 megabyte of RAM. Okay. We don't necessarily need to write system information because, okay, to the config.txt file. So maybe this reference diskette reads that, or reference USB drive in this instance, reads that config.txt to find out how the system is supposed to be configured. And file copy if you have like an option diskette or an ADF to copy over. Okay, utilities. And I'll probably want to set the time and date too. And this has that Dallas DS1387 chip in it. And the okay. So in the utilities is for the same date and time and other things. Okay. So this is actually right on the nose on time and date. I don't know when the last time I ran it or anything like that, but I've added that Ethernet adapter into it. Okay, so escape to quit. Okay, if you press escape again, you will leave setup. And I don't know if it will reboot the system. Yeah, it looks like it. So I'm going to go through and eject the diskette, the USB drive. And we're going to see how well. So remember, slot 3, that's where we have that SMC Ethernet board. And again, that initialization in progress, and that's a lengthy period of time that goes through. And the RBIOS version of the ROM BIOS, Friday, October 10th of 1997. And that time we didn't get anything about a configuration error. And that date and time being right on is that's interesting for that being that DS 1387, because those things seem to work long after the time frame that they shouldn't anymore. I'll have to look at and see what date code is on that chip for it to have the time and date like that. Okay, so we're Windows 95, so I'm going to grab the mouse. Let's get that in a good position to use. And let me go through and focus on the screen behind me. It's actually starting to rain outside. I don't know if that's audible on the microphone, but so let's go through the add new hardware. And I suppose I could look at that system. We're going to let Windows look for the new hardware. And Windows 95, you know, the start of the so-called plug and play. I can actually see there's some indicator lights on. I don't know if they're really necessarily visible to that left. Is that the leftmost adapter, and it's shorter. It's like a half-length card. I don't know if those LEDs aren't necessarily visible. I should have put that in a better position. Okay, so the details of what it found. It found that adapter, that correct adapter. So we're going to go finish. Okay. And it's nice, it has that CD-ROM image on the hard drive of the Windows 95 files, because of course it does not have a CD-ROM drive in it. Although I suppose I could connect up external CD-ROM that I have here to that connector, that SCSI connector on the back. Good, because we're even just right below a half-hour recording time. We got all the way to running that reference USB drive. Okay. And asking if we want to restart the system. Let's go yes. I don't know if I should have gone in more to the configuration of that Ethernet adapter, but we'll find out. Okay. Now that the system is configured, it seemed like it went through that step a little bit faster. About the initialization and progress. Booting OS. Okay. And I didn't have an account set up on here. I don't know if it'll let me continue with a blank. Okay. Yeah, we'll just go a blank password. Windows 95, of course, is, security. I can always change that. So let's go through for the network section. Okay. And these are the defaults of the time. I want to actually add a protocol. I want to add the TCP/IP protocol. That being a little bit newer for me. Let's go through and remove the NetBUI and the IPX SPX. Okay. Log on and restore. We're not logging on to a Windows NT domain. This is very familiar to me for the aspect that my workplace is 22 years. I started in 1997. Windows 95 was the latest OS on the scene. Okay, so the adapter slot number, let's go ahead and identify that as slot number 3. Now it's interesting on the Windows NT side, Windows NT 4, so the same appearance as Windows 95. There's actually a bug in it for microchannel systems that the slots are off by 1. They're misnumbered until you get to until you install Service Pack 3 fixes that bug of the indexing of the microchannel slots. And microchannel slots, I mean, they're indexed to the OS. And probably the multicast, in fact, I want to see the bindings. Yeah, we're bound to the TCP/IP. Okay. And obtain an IP address automatically is good. WINS configuration, the USD HCP for WINS resolution is fine. I'm going to do what I know is the gateway for the environment here. DNS configuration. Okay, so we have good values there. Host name of NCR 3433 and the correct DNS server values that I want to use. Bindings, advanced. Okay. And NetBIOS is grayed out. Okay, so we're going to go okay for all that. I'm trying to think. Might want to do file sharing. I'm not going to do printer sharing. Okay. So for all this, it's going to ask to restart the system again. And we're going to see if we can get on the internet after this. Go to maybe an old an old page. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do for an internet page. Probably. Okay. While your computer shuts down. To see how long this takes. Okay. And it's got to be not a whole second, but you can see the delay between the video capture and what's up on my screen behind me. So, but that video capture device, I really like that otherwise, showing the full screen and the things that it does. Okay, and we're coming up on 37 minutes of recording time. And it's got the VGA for that NCR system. Actually, it's quite nice video. Okay, remember that I have a blank password, not in real life or IRL, just on this system right now. I don't think I can function in the modern world with the blank password. Okay. It might be neat throwing in a sound card. Registered to user, authentic AMD. So this has an AMD CPU on it. Might even be worth testing. It might be one of those 5x86 133 chips, probably. And this is the B version of Windows 95. Nothing flagged for under the device manager. That is fantastic. And I have all kinds of choices of generic NEC floppy disk. And the Seagate drive, I'd even have to check out that for what the capacity is on it. Of course, Windows 95 has all that. Okay. So 1.87 gigabyte free. A lot of space too. This will be a very good development system. Okay, no sharing turned on. And so we should have Internet Explorer. I don't think it's probably set to a good start page. Okay. But we'll go through and correct that. Let's go to theoldnet.com. Okay. Should I sign the guest book? Or does that even... does that even work anymore? So it's opening a GIF image. Or is that GIF? For... So... I don't know if there's a place to read the guest book. Okay. Or maybe after someone signs, they have the ability to read it. Okay, let's look down further. And so wherever this is may be in Oz or something, Australia? Because it's marking it as the 4th of March at 3:37 in the morning. But anybody else goes onto that and to look at that guest book entry, I've just added one. So we're on the internet with this system. Isn't that amazing? So, quite a involved video, and I hope you enjoyed the content. I went through and I had to figure out that diskette drive was bad. It just caused me to go through and have to rethink how I could run the reference diskette functionality on the system. And sure, I probably could have put on another diskette drive. I was a little bit worried about that power connection because it only supplied the 5 volt. I thought, hey, let's try a Gotek. It's been a long time since I've had a video on the Gotek. I can go through and I can do the flash floppy configured Gotek in some future video, but this one worked out real good, and it's just a matter of going through and mounting that in the system. It'll blend in with the front panel. It's a little bit lighter gray, but and I can go through and I have the tweener system over here to the right, and I can see what all kinds of diskettes that I can, images I can put on that USB drive for this unit. Looks like I'm good on drivers and everything else otherwise, so I'll have to see. This system really doesn't need anything much transferred from the from diskette or a diskette image for now, and I have that SCSI connection on the back that I can connect up my drive that SCSI external CD-ROM that I have, and that's another way to transfer files to and from the system. So maybe some software like the Visual Basic. I'll have to go through and, yeah, like Visual Basic that I can run on this system. And I've got that on the older version. I've got it on diskettes. So maybe that'd be something good. The newer versions I have on CD-ROM, so I can connect up that external drive too. So we are coming upon 46 minutes of recording time. Looked like a real good video. And I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, go ahead and click on that like button, please. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and recommend it to your friends if they're interested in this sort of content. But that's all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.